I told some people that I would do a tutorial again. So many people were interested in what I did yesterday with the paint pouring, and this is what I did yesterday. This is dry now since it's been about 24 hours since I made it. I did the aqua underneath, and then on top I did, I think it was a metallic berry and some kind of gold. So in about a month I can seal it, and then it's going to a home in Alaska, which I'm excited about. So I thought I'd do another similar today. I'm going to do turquoise on the bottom and this metallic shimmering silver and this metallic festive red on top. So obviously I'm using something a little bit bigger. So I love the wood boards that, I think they call this a cradle. It's really easy to hang on the wall. This is obviously, I kind of repurposed something I got at the thrift store. So I put some gesso on top, acrylic gesso. You can still see a little bit of the, obviously, some of the stuff coming through, but I think since this color is so dark, it's definitely going to cover that up.
Can I put some paint?
What?
Didn't you already put the Floetrol on?
Yes, I already, so the first thing I use is I put some Floetrol in my cups. You can buy this at Home Depot. I actually get this through Amazon, almost like all my other stuff. And it's just, it helps paint flow really well, which is kind of, it's just, what? You're gonna reach across?
The paint.
Oh.
Keep on talking.
This is distilled water. I usually use just a little bit of this when I mix up my paints, just to get the right consistency. I've heard people say that if you use water, it should not be tap water, although I have also heard other people say they do use tap water. So I don't really know what the difference is, but I already had some distilled water, so I'm good with using it. I already poured some Floetrol into my cups. What?
We need sticks.
Oh, sticks. I also use popsicle sticks to stir.
I'm also trying to put the paint in.
That's okay, honey. I'll put it.
Mm.
So, popsicle sticks for each one. After putting them in, I'll give it to you and you can help stir. So I'm doing more of the turquoise because that's the bottom. It's going to cover more of the board. So that goes in the cup that has more Floetrol in it. And some people really measure what they do. They have a scale. They do exact amounts. I don't do that yet. Maybe one day I will, but maybe I just never won't.
It seems too much.
And this is the shimmering silver.
Does that actually say that somewhere? Should I say shimmering silver?
Shimmering silver, that's what it says. There's that one. And then we've got the festive red. I really like how the metallic paints look when you use them. Just like the one I did yesterday.
This is really thick. It's
Um,
not like the thickest of it. It's like the white.
That's why I add water. I've heard people say that the consistency you want is like creamer, like coffee creamer. And I've heard other people say it should be like warm honey. So it should just flow off your stick pretty easily. Shouldn't be that thick.
But not too soupy. That'd be weird.
You mix the paint and the Floetrol first before you put anything else in. I've heard that that helps the Floetrol and the paint bond together. So this one definitely needs a little bit of water. I think it's a little too thick. So I add just a little bit of water in there. Once again, I don't really measure. I just kind of go with whatever looks good. Feel like that needs a little bit more water. I think that one's a little bit better. Okay. The metallic paints don't seem like they're quite as thick as the other kinds of paints. So sometimes I don't put any water in, other times I just put a tiny bit of water. I think that's good. I don't think the silver needs much, just a tiny bit.
Didn't do any silicone.
I know. Yesterday I didn't put any silicone in what I did yesterday.
And it looks really nice.
And yeah, it looks pretty nice. I'm gonna try to kind of come up with the same outcome, so I'm not gonna worry about silicone today either.
So are we pouring?
Yep, we're gonna do the pouring technique just like I did yesterday. So I'm gonna kind of put down that base bit of color with the turquoise. Just pouring it in the center.
I could spread it out if you want to.
I'll put a little bit more. Since it's a bigger board, I try to make sure I have more paint. Sometimes I'm bad at judging how much paint I need to have. That's pretty good though. A little bit more on the edges. I guess I could. You can use your finger, you can use a popsicle stick. I see some people...
It makes it kind of look better when you use your finger.
You think so?
Yeah. Just me. Because you're scraping at it.
Well, yeah, but I'm also going to put other paint on it, so then it'll move around too. Here, you want to finish that up while I... Okay. So, there's still a bit of turquoise in here, which is great. I'm going to use this cup to pour the other paints in.
You're going to put aqua and aqua.
Okay. And then I did this yesterday. I just kind of pour right against the side. Pretty much just because I see other people doing that. Okay. Here's the silver. And here's the festive red.
You don't want to get the sides, do you?
No, we'll do that at the end. Okay. So now I've got all the paint in here, and I'm hoping that it is enough. So I'm just going to start pouring right in the middle. I like the silver and the red together. I don't feel like this red is very red actually. It looks more like a... I know that it also has to do with the colors it's right next to, but it does look more pink. I think we used it in another painting and I was thinking it didn't look very red. It's pretty so far though, right?
It'll always get better when you tilt it around.
Yep.
More things happen.
Yep. Even though I didn't put any silicone in it, sometimes these little cells pop up, cells of color.
Color.
Now we're kind of getting into a little bit of that bottom turquoise. I kind of like seeing that background color kind of popping in through this painting on top.
You're going really slow.
I think most people do. Kind of looks like, oops, my hand's shaking all that. It's like tree rings.
Yeah.
Wow.
It even looks like a tree.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to tilt it. Eventually it won't look just like a circle, like a tree ring. And change. Hopefully it'll still look nice. Trying to do it in a way that you can see it.
That's good. Except that there's so much glare.
Yeah. This is so wet and shiny.
Wish it didn't mess up the colors.
Yeah, this is a tutorial. I don't really like that center very well, so I'm going to kind of shift that off to the side.
Need the box.
Yeah. That's okay, I can grab it.
Are you sure?
I need to find a good spot to put it anyway. Although it's already very painty anyway. A really important thing is after you paint your painting, you need to, well, I like to set it on something to lift it up off the ground so it can kind of drip off onto the, well, I use plastic wrap underneath because it's really easy to clean up when we're done. You really need to find something that's very level, because if it's not level, then your paint is going to, eventually it's going to slide off to the side, and what it may have looked really nice at first when you were done, but you might come back later in the day and it looks completely different and you may not like it anymore. And I've had to do a few repaintings over that. So I use my address box and it's very painty now, but it's a level object, so. Also, we'll probably turn it off before I get all the sides, but I usually just go on the sides and make them nice and covered in paint, so it'll look really nice when it's hanging on your wall. So you can see all these little cells popping up of color. These little, yeah, those are called cells. When you use silicone, you drop a couple drops of silicone in each color, that can cause more of these to happen. But this time, I didn't use any. And I still like how it looks so sometimes when you just use Floetrol and paint. You have to let it dry. It usually takes about a day to dry. and then about a month to cure. And then you can put on either, some people put on resin, or you can put on, I use Minwax polycryl, I don't know if it's varnish.
Varnish.
Yeah, varnish. I am gonna put some resin on some of my things as I make them, though. So I think that's about it. If you have any more questions, anything I didn't cover, just ask me. Maybe in the future I'll do another tutorial another time, but I like how this one turned out. Happy painting!